and welcome to From Mess to Message, a journey to purpose. We are so grateful that you have joined us for another installment of this uplifting and inspiring show. Today we are honored to have the creative visionary and founder of Redefining You, Mirielle Edouard. Mirielle, welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
We are grateful. You know, I'm one of your biggest fans.
I know. You always let me know that.
So, kindly tell our viewers a little bit about Mirielle and how her journey began.
Well, as he said, my name is Mirielle Edouard, and my journey began as a second child in a family of 5 brothers and sisters, and my parents immigrated from Haiti back in the late 70s, early 80s, and I was born in the 80s, so I'm an 80s baby, and just kind of navigating through life, always feeling awkward, always feeling like I didn't quite fit in, and so kind of trying to make a way for myself because with my parents being from where they're from, it made I was dealing with a lot of cultural issues while trying to adapt in
And where
America.
are they from?
Haiti.
Haiti. What part of Haiti?
Marchand-Dessalines.
Marchand-Dessalines.
Yeah.
Is that a smaller or a bigger area in Haiti?
It's a smaller area. I believe is in the north. Don't quote me on that, though.
Okay.
But yes, it is a smaller area. It's known for its carnival. They have huge carnival every year. So growing up Haitian, I always felt like I was living in 2 cultures. I was living in Haiti when I went in my house, but yet when I went in the streets, I was a good old American girl. You know what I mean? So always feeling awkward and out of the loop. Essentially, I always knew that I was destined for more. I was always looking. I was looking for more. And with me, I always felt spiritual. I had a spiritual grounding that I can't tell you where it came from. It wasn't necessarily my parents. I grew up in the Catholic Church, but it wasn't necessarily them. It was just me feeling a deeper connection to things. I would feel connected to the moon, the stars, the animals. I felt connected to just about any and everything.
And when did when did you realize it was a connection? And because some people's like, oh, what is this feeling? Like, where's this coming from? When did you realize you had this special connection?
About the age of 9.
9.
We had moved into a new home, and so I had a lot more space. Before that, we were living in an apartment in Cypress Hills, Brooklyn, where it was kind of rough, so you couldn't really go outside and look up at the stars at night.
Yes.
However, we had just moved into a new home in East New York, so we had a lot more land, a lot more property, and I used to go in the backyard at night and look up at the stars like, wow, oh my goodness, these stars are just so beautiful, oh my gosh. Like, I used to feel connected to them, and sitting in the backyard at night, especially in the summers, I would always feel connected to people in need, and I could never understand why that was. Like when I'd pass by a homeless person, when I'd be out shopping with my mom, and there'd be a homeless person on the street, I always wanted to give them the clothes I had on my back, and I couldn't understand. So all of this was always like a cycle of me searching for more, because I always felt connected to things that I couldn't really touch, feel, or smell, but I identified with it. So in the winters, when I would go in the backyard, I would cry. I would literally sit in the backyard and cry for hours, saying, how are the people who didn't have homes? How are they living? It's cold out here. How are they living? And so because of that, I would almost like punish myself, and I would stay in the backyard for 2 to 3 hours. And my mom would be like, come inside, you're gonna get sick, or whatever, because I wanted to feel what they were going through. And so essentially, as I got older, I just started investigating more and more to try to figure out why is it that I feel connected to people who don't necessarily have as much advantages as I have in life. Why is it that I feel connected to things that I don't necessarily feel like I should be connected to, like animals, plants, insects, flowers, and stuff like that. And so essentially, I just started searching.
You started searching. So let's go into schooling and let's talk a little bit about what you went to school and study, and what were your ambitions as you grew up.
Okay. I always thought I was going to be a singer. I thought like I was just going to sing like it's nobody's business because I felt that I sang good, especially in the showers. You know what I mean?
Of course, yes, we do. Y'all sound wonderful there.
And so it's not until I was in the 4th grade and we were asked to actually write like, you know, the stories, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I did that. And so I was so excited to actually read it out loud. And a girl went before me. And the first name was Shannon. I won't say her last name, but but she was like known as the classroom singer. Like she could just blow like it's nobody's business. Like, she was like Beyonce way back in the day. And so she read her story before me. And so everybody said, hey, well, why don't you sing us a song? You know, after she finished reading her story, and man, she blew like the class away. So everybody's like, okay, Mirielle, you're next. I'm like. Like I was stuck. I was like, no, it's okay. I don't need to go up no more. And teacher's like, no, you got to go up.
Yes.
I went up to the front of the classroom and I couldn't sing knowing that Shannon just like wowed the stage. You know what I mean? So I sat there. I was like, I want to be a writer. I'm trying to read from this paper. Nothing I'm saying is on the paper. And so I sounded like I was like having an epileptic episode or whatever because I was just nervous and so I told them I wanted to be a writer. And everybody was like, okay, but you can't even write because apparently what you're reading is like...
It makes no sense.
Yeah, it makes no sense. But I said, okay, whatever. And slowly but surely, that manifested. I started writing. I started writing in college. I studied communications and as well as English in undergrad. And so I just started writing. I started writing all these articles, pieces. I started submitting stuff everywhere. And not necessarily to say, hey, you know, I wrote an article, but just because it was so natural to me. I would write poems. I would write songs. I just would write. And so slowly but surely that became my thing. But I felt that I was doing it just because it allowed me to release a lot. It allowed me to release a lot of emotions, a lot of things that I was dealing with personally, family issues, as well as just making sure that it kept me balanced. And so slowly but surely, that's when my story began. So I graduated college after in 3 years because like I just wanted to zoom. I'm somebody like if I'm starting something, I want to finish it. Yes. And so I graduated undergrad in 3 years, and I just started looking. Because everybody said, if you're a good writer, maybe you want to be a lawyer. And so I said, okay, maybe that's the next step. And so I started applying to law schools and studying to take the LSAT. But then I felt something in my conscience saying like, this is not the right step for you because I have a notorious problem that I cannot. I'm not going to say I cannot because I'm sure it happens every once in a while, but I think honesty is like it. So I cannot actually defend something that I know is not right. So and so that was in terms of my moral complex that I said, Mirielle, do you really want to go into this because when you're practicing law, you literally have to defend an argument and not necessarily right or wrong. And so I would ask myself that question all the time as I was studying, and no. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. And so I said, what are you going to do? You know, I said, okay, as long as I just find a 9-to-5 job for right now. And so I wound up in the fashion industry. I wound up in the fashion industry for a golf apparel company, which was doing really well. And that's where I realized that I was great with customer service. I was excellent with people, and I was great as a leader. And so I started identifying my own personal skills or talents that I didn't necessarily have a chance to learn before because I was always going from one step to the next step. So graduating high school, you go on to college. After you graduate college, you're supposed to go on and find this job, or whatever the case is. But slowly but surely, I just started seeking me out and figuring out what are some of the things that make me happy. Well, what are some of the things that make me feel comfortable with being me, and just realizing my uniqueness, and being okay with that. So that's pretty much it.
And from the wanting to be a writer to going to law school and then going to the golf company, working for the golf apparel company, how did the Redefine You come about?
Together? Back in 2011, I was laid off. Because after the golf apparel company, I realized that I was great at sales. Like I could sell water to a whale. I would just start talking to people, and they wouldn't buy whatever it is that I was selling. So prior to that, I worked for a couple of educational wholesalers, or like media sales support, and so with doing that, I became really good at my craft. And so in 2011, I was working for an educational sales company, and I was laid off. And I didn't think anything of it because I'm like, I'm gonna find another job because I always do. Like it was like when you start developing who you are and realizing what your unique talents are, what your unique skills are, you're not necessarily fearful when trouble comes. And so I was never fearful, like I'm not gonna get another job. So I was laid off. I said, okay, I'm gonna close for 2 or 3 months because I had been working since I was 14 up until that point. So
Yes.
What happened was that the jobs weren't coming in. I started applying to jobs, and nobody was trying to hire me. And so this was really bad in terms of my confidence level because I've always been somebody who just knew that I could walk into a room and snag whatever opportunity I wanted. And so slowly but surely I began to see my confidence level start to kind of dissipate because now I'm like, what? I'm good. I'm really good. Why can't people just see that I'm good? You know, every job I've ever had, like I was excelling in sales and marketing. And so it wasn't until I was laid off, I actually took some time and reinvested it in myself. I said, Mirielle, you've been doing this so well for other people for so long. Why is it that you can't do it for yourself? But you never really knew that, like I wasn't taught that I could do this for myself. I was taught that you have these skills and you have to take them to somewhere else. And the other person has to recognize your value and tell you how much you're worth and give you a job.
Yeah.
So I was never taught that I could do that for myself. And so at about 2013, that's when I decided to enroll in business school. So I went back to school. I got a degree in general management as well as media, and like started realizing that, girl, you got this. Like you've been doing this for everybody. So it's time for you to start marketing yourself and marketing your services and packaging yourself. So it was a slow progression in terms of who I wanted to work with, because I initially started out with emerging entrepreneurs or new businesses, but eventually I realized that my footing was with small businesses, because I realized that small businesses, every small business is owned by somebody who just had a desire and a dream to own something and to do something. However, they may not have had the opportunity to go to business school. They may not have had the opportunity to actually know all the ins and outs of sales and marketing realm where I did, and so I decided, you know what, this is who I'm going to work with, small businesses, because I had a heart and desire to do work with them.
Okay, so redefine you working as developing businesses and small businesses and marketing and strategic moves. About a year ago, you did this tremendous life-changing move. Tell the viewers a little bit about that move.
It's funny enough, about a year ago, I felt inundated by the business. I felt like I had started this business and I was high off excitement. I was doing great things. However, I felt like I didn't necessarily put the foundational pieces together for the business. It kind of just took off and started running really fast. And so things were kind of getting really overwhelming really fast. And I just said, you know what? I need to take a break. I need to take some time out. And so at about the same time, all of my clients, our contracts were coming up anyway. They were being due. And so I said, Mirielle, this is a perfect opportunity in order for you to just figure your stuff out. And so at that point, I just got up. I sold everything I had because I didn't know what was next, but I knew I needed a major shift. I sold everything I had. I gave my car away. I had stuff in storage. I released everything. I gave everything away. And I said, I'm going to move to Indonesia.
How long did it take you to make that decision? Like go from, okay, I'm getting rid of it all.
Maybe about 20 minutes. Because after watching Eat, Pray, Love, believe it or not, 5 years before, I looked at Indonesia on the movie. I said, I'm going to go to that country. I said, I don't know how, I don't know where. I said, I'm going to go. And so when I started feeling all the pressures of life hitting me and the business and just everything, I said, this is it. it's time for me to go. Like I know just being a student of life, just being a student of change, of teachings about change, I know that nothing is going to change until you change.
Yeah.
And so I needed to change my entire environment in order for me to have the best success rate. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
So I got up, I gave everything away, and I said, I'm going to Indonesia. I didn't know where I was going. I picked a place in Indonesia. I Googled. I said, okay, what's the best place to go? He said, Ubud. I said, fantastic. I'm going to Ubud. And so I got an Airbnb. I paid up for like about two months or so, a little bit over 2 months. And I said, and like, I rented a motorcycle, never rode a motorcycle in my life. I said, I'm going to do what I feel like I need to do in order to experience whatever it is I'm looking for.
Yes.
I knew that, cause at that time I had just started my meditation journey. Like I was maybe like a year in, because of all the stretches I had learned to incorporate meditation into my daily practice, enabling me to kind of learn to de-stress as well as clear some room in your mind in order for you to be more focused and have more clarity. So I started doing that, but I wanted to learn how to meditate like on a higher level.
Yes.
And so it was Indonesia. I said, I'm going to go there, I'm going to meditate, and I'm going to write. That's all I'm going to do. I don't need to know what the next steps are going to be. I don't need to know anything. I said, that's all I wanted to do. And so I bought a one-way ticket. I got on a plane, and I left.
And you just went to Indonesia.
I went to Indonesia.
So tell us about how you met your meditation teacher. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
My meditation teacher, his name is Tony Sawardi. He is amazing. He is... after getting to Indonesia, I said, all right, Lord, I said, I'm going to take some time out and find somebody who can guide me along this whole journey of meditation. And so, because I just really wanted to go to just experience everything. So I had no plan, as I told you. So, and so with that, the first day I got there, at the compound in which I was staying, the owner of the compound had told me, he said, oh, there's a great vegetarian restaurant up the street. You should check it out. I said, yeah, I'm a vegetarian. He said, you should check it out. I said, okay, cool. So the first day I didn't go. I went the second day. So I got there really early. And so when I got there, they were still setting up the food. And so one of the guys who was sitting in like the lobby area just on his phone, I started talking to him. And so he's like, oh, what brings you here? I said, oh, I'm from New York City. I came here just to learn how to meditate. He's like, wow. He's like, oh, meditation is easy. And we just started talking about some elements of meditation. And so it's not until I was leaving that he told me, he said, oh, I'm the owner of this restaurant. I said, oh, okay, cool. And then after that, I went, got food, left. I had a great conversation with him, maybe about an hour, got food, left. I got home that night and I prayed. I said, I need to know what's next. I said, I need to know where I'm gonna go to next. Because every day I was just living like it was a beautiful experience. You know what I mean? Especially if you come from a fast-paced environment, you kind of want some elements of control. Even though you're saying you don't want control, you still want some elements of control.
Yeah.
And so I went to sleep, and so I had a dream about Tony, the same guy I had met earlier in that day. I had a dream about him, and he said, and when I woke up, I just felt in my heart. I just heard a voice in my spirit say, he's your meditation teacher. So I said, oh, okay. He's a restaurant owner, but all right, no problem. because he owned a couple of restaurants throughout Bali, where I went to in Indonesia. And so I went back the next day. I rode my bike there really early. Like I got up and I said, I'm taking a shower. I'm going to see Tony. I went back and I said, hi, how are you? He like just waking up and everything. He's just not opening up the restaurant. He's like, I said, you are my meditation teacher. He's like, what? I said, you're my meditation teacher. He's like, oh, okay. He's like, how do you know? I said, I prayed and the Lord told me that you're my meditation teacher. So I'm back. Yeah. And so he was like, okay. I said, so what's the first lesson? He's like, come and meet me tomorrow at another location of his other shop. I said, okay, no problem. So as a matter of fact, he said, come and meet me later on that day. It was like 9 o'clock. So being a young lady and being Brooklyn street smart, I said, I'm not leaving my house at 9 o'clock to go to the other side of town. I said, I'm still trying to get used to this motorcycle. I fell in the cliff like twice in the first day. So I said, I'm not doing that.
Yes.
And so I'm telling you, I went home. I felt so bad. I was like, oh my, he's supposed to be my teacher. Why is he sending me into the bushes? Maybe he's trying to kidnap me. I'm telling you, I had every story, plot line. I could name the movie. Like I just thought it.
Yeah.
And so the next day I went back to see him. He was like, I didn't see you. He's like, I didn't see you last night. I said, yeah, it was, I'm just from a different era, of a different place that, we don't trust coming out. And this, he's like, Mirielle, he's like, this is Bali. Nothing happens in Bali. I was like, yeah, I've heard that before, but I just gotta be careful. And so I went to go see him early. And so once I got there, I said, okay, so what's today's lesson? And so he tosses me a bushel of like spinach on a vine. And it's like maybe 10 pounds of spinach like in front of me. And I'm like, what the heck? He's like, take the leaves off the branches. And I'm looking at him like, he don't know I got 2 degrees? Like, he don't know where I come from. He don't know that, I was a senior vice president of sales and marketing at the last company I worked. He don't know. This is what I'm saying in my head because I ain't saying this to him.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So he walks away. And I'm telling you, I am fuming. Like, who does this guy think I am? Mm-hmm. Doesn't he know? I'm Mirielle Edouard. Because that's what my dad said.
Yes.
And so he comes back maybe like 10 minutes later after I have a whole pile of leaves and branches on one side. He comes back 10 minutes later and he's like, that was your first lesson. Always keep your mind busy. Mm. And I said, oh, this man is a genius. I said, wow. I was just blown away.
Yeah, because growing up, they say idle mind is the devil's workshop.
Yes.
So if we think about some of the things we're being told, and just the art of meditation and the art of just stillness, and finding you and just getting your balance, and it really just has to do with chilling
out. Yeah. Because I'm telling you, all that anxiety I felt before he came back, like it dissipated. It dissipated and it just went away as he just came. He came back. He said, all right, just leave the leaves. Come on, let's go. And it was just like I saw meditation in practice, and that was the most beautiful part. It wasn't like he was sitting in a temple praying 20 hours a day. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but like I saw it in practice. I saw it in how he lived his life every single day, and that's what I said, man. We could learn a lot. I could definitely learn a lot. And so I knew that there'd be people who would be interested, not only interested, but value this experience as well as just sitting with a man who's a restaurateur of a number of businesses out in Bali, Indonesia, who's living a simple life, but was so rich in spirit.
So now after your experience, how long did you stay in Indonesia?
About 2.5 months.
2.5 months. You know what? I was thinking you were there longer.
Everybody was saying that.
I swore it seemed as though you were gone forever.
Everybody was saying that.
But after being there for 2.5 months, and when it was time to come back, when did you decide that ancient meditation how did you decide that you were going to package this to help people who have gone through trauma, to help them on their journey towards themselves, back to themselves?
That's a great question, Najim. I can't ever say that I felt like I was going to package this. I can't tell you that, hey, I just knew that this was it. I wanted to come and give it to the masses. No. It was, Mirielle, we're going to get ourselves together. And in getting yourself together, that's all I was concerned with. I was concerned with being the highest version of myself. That's something I've always been passionate about. Like I have countless of CDs, books, conference tickets of personal development workshops and things I've gone to, paid well over thousands of dollars for these things because I've always been seeking to build my personal best self up. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so after I got back, I just went back to business and essentially I came back with the notion that I'm going to make my business a lot more online. That way I can have more flexibility to travel and do things like this. And so it wasn't until a couple of months ago I was praying and I got, Mirielle, you really need to share this information with other people. And I'm like, okay, in what capacity? And so the first thing that came to me was to start creating meditation lesson plans. And so I just started creating a whole bunch of different lesson plans which is designed to aid people who are looking to teach meditation classes or do groups. And so I just started writing them up. I literally would sit down on a Saturday and create 20 plans or whatever. Everything from like a meditation to deal with stress, a meditation to deal with emotional heartbreak, a meditation to deal with challenges with personal body, chakra meditations, all of that. So I started writing lesson plans, and so slowly but surely, I felt inspired in order to go and visit a yoga studio. It's called Emerge Boutique Wellness Space and Wellness Studio. And so I went out there, and I said, you know what? The minute I got in, I felt you have to teach classes. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, what? Like I'm just used to my own personal practice.
Exactly.
And like the minute I got into the studio, you know, sometimes when you go into a space, the space invites you in and it tells you what your next steps are.
Yes.
Sometimes I believe that God personally uses people sometimes to come and tell you, but sometimes things tell you, places, opportunities, something tells you what the next steps are. And I walked in and I just knew what the next step was, that I needed to offer classes. And so I sat down, I had a conversation with the owner of the studio, Tamika Ford, and she's been amazing in kind of helping me transition into this journey of offering meditation and making it accessible to urban communities.
So what, could you kind of walk us through one of your meditation classes? Kind of like, how do you deal with someone who is going through trauma, and how would you go about introducing a brand new person who has never done meditation? How would you go about introducing them to ancient meditation?
First and foremost, we all have trauma. We all are dealing with trauma on some level or another. Either it's ancestral stuff, either it's family stuff, but we all have some traumatic experience in our life that has brought us to where we are right now.
Yes.
And so first and foremost, when people come in, I invite them into the space as well as make it an open platform. Let them know that this is for beginners, and anyone who's just not getting started, like, this is the right place for you. But also, I also let them know that meditation is not about religion, but is about developing a higher relationship with yourself, a better relationship, connecting with your true self, in order for you to be able to bring that out into the community. And so so we focus on breathing. As soon as they come in, I let them know step by step, okay, this meditation is going to focus on breathing as well as a mantra. And the mantra is going to help you connect with your breath as well as stay focused during the meditation. And so our beginning level classes are about 30 minutes. And so this way it gives a person enough time to kind of come in, get settled, as well as connect with their breath without feeling like, oh my goodness, I've been doing this for too long. You know what I mean? Because it can get overwhelming. And so with that, I let people know that how when you're connecting with your breath, you're connecting to your life energy. Because our life energy, like our total body is energy. Everything that you see from the crown of our head to the soles of our feet is all energy. And so once I let them know that, once you're connecting with yourself in the meditation, you are just making the energy. You're just finding a way for it to go and getting it more focused and centered. So allowing new students to feel comfortable, as well as making current students feel like, okay, I'm on the path to greatness and finding my best self.
Mirielle, we could sit and talk with you forever, but we're only a half-hour show. But we want to thank you so much for coming on today. And would you tell the viewers where they can find you on social media? On social media, if you're on Instagram or on Facebook, you can find me at Ancient Meditation, as well as Redefining You with the letter U. As well as if you're interested in getting your business up and running with marketing and branding, our website is www.redefiningyou.com. And so we want to thank you so much for joining us today. And as Mirielle just told you, you just have to still yourself. Still yourself and listen to that inner you, the message that comes from inside, that comes from your Creator. And remember, with everything you do, to lead with love, because love always wins.